Hello and welcome to the October 20th, 2024 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're investing in this. We're on every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for catching us live or tuning in and catching the replay. You can catch us live on Facebook and YouTube. We are simulcasting. Hooray. This is a program dedicated to bringing some good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from goodnewsnetwork.org and goodgoodgood.co, but we do appreciate everything sent in by you, the viewers. And eventually, I will memorize my intro. I've only been doing this for a while now. You'd think I'd have it down. Oh boy. It's going to be a fun one. My voice is in shreds. I had a fun, exciting weekend that involved a lot of talking. So hopefully we can get through this and everyone can put up with what has been coined my LARP daddy voice. Our news brew for today is going to be a really cool one. It is, let me grab this giant can of beer. So this is Voodoo Ranger IPA by Belgium Brewing. It is a 7% ABV IPA, and it was suggested to us by our Nick's Newsie, Eliza, several months ago, but I never got around to getting a can and drinking it. So now I got one. So we are going to do Voodoo Ranger IPA, which is the flagship for the Voodoo Ranger series of beers from New Belgium. So Eliza, thank you very much for sending in this suggestion. We don't need the Balisong bottle opener, because obviously it's a can, so let's get a good crack on this. And today, we'll be drinking it out of my amazing Spider-Man pint glass. Too, she foamy. It's going to be the theatrics of a definite 5-minute pour. Because I want all this gas out of the beer. I don't want it in me. Hi, Cassidy. Hi, Ben. I hung out with Cassidy and Ben this weekend at Waypoint LARP. It was fantastic. I had a great time. Thank you so much. And many thanks to everybody for a great weekend. I'm going to give the head on that a little bit of time to settle. But it's a really nice straw yellow color. Good head. So we'll give that some time while we get through some of our shout-outs. Cassidy in the Facebook chat, it was fun. Yes, it was. The end of an era and the start of a new one. So shout-outs. Do you want some fine wine or really great cider? Swing on into Fox and Hen Winery, located in Grand Haven, Michigan. And it's located between Grand Haven and Allendale. It specializes in small batch wines and ciders that reflect our Lake Michigan climate. Check them out Fridays and Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. I will be there this week from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So if you want to hang out with me and have some really great wine and cider, swing on by Fox and Hen Winery in Grand Haven. Happy birthday shout out. Happy birthday shout out to one of our Nick's Newsies, Mona. I hope you have a very good, happy birthday, my friend. Another shout out to another Nick's Newsie, Tim. Thank you very much, Tim, for tuning into Nick's News for almost about as long as I've been doing this, which is a couple of years now. And happy birthday, good sir. Next shout out is going to be to Judy, whose cancer marker numbers are down. Here on Nick's News, we absolutely hate cancer. We have a slogan for it. So, Judy, it's really good to see that those cancer marker numbers are down, and we hope that chemo works out successfully for you. Last one is going to be a huge congratulations to the Waypoint LARP, which just wrapped up its 2024 season. I've been enjoying Waypoint LARP. There were a few years where I missed it when I was back in school, but I've been to, I was at the first events for it, and it's amazing seeing the game that it has become from its humble beginnings. So to Waypoint LARP and everybody involved, thank you very much for an amazing year, and I can't wait to see what 2025 has in store. In the Facebook chat, we got Tim. Hi, Tim. We've got Julie, who was a little distracted by Jensen Ackles on TV. Man ages like a fine wine. You're welcome, Tim. It was my pleasure to do that birthday shout out for you. And hello, Matt. Okay. So that gets us through our shout outs. Gonna add a little bit more beer to this glass. News quote, another really good one about being a friend. We're kind of on a friend kick, I guess, because we surround ourselves with so many people, and your friends are very important. Friendship is a necessity, and learning the ins and outs of friendship can be daunting at times, but I think this quote is really good for this. And it goes, "Sometimes being a friend means mastering the art of timing. There is a time for silence, a time to let go and allow people to hurl themselves into their own destiny, and a time to prepare to pick up the pieces when it's all over." And that comes from Octavia Estelle Butler. She was an American science fiction author and a multiple recipient of the Hugo and Nebula Awards, and was also the first science fiction writer to receive a MacArthur Fellowship. So just going through that quote one more time. Sometimes being a friend means mastering the art of timing. There is a time for silence, a time to let go and allow people to hurl themselves into their own destiny, and a time to prepare to pick up the pieces when it's all over. So from Octavia Estelle Butler on friendship and timing, cheers. Ed checking in the Facebook chat. Hello, Ed. Julie saying she loved the quote. Julie, I loved that quote too. I'm going to hold on to that one. Matt saying, cue the Beatles. Okay. Bug update. So, some of you are aware that I have a Instagram now for Nick's News. There is a Nick's News Instagram. Link is in the descriptions. And it's available. If you go to the Facebook page, there's a link for it there too. I'm going to use that Instagram to post some behind-the-scenes stuff for Nick's News, and also some exclusive posts that'll be there. Just fun little things, and this is one of them. We have a new bug. My menagerie of fauna that I care for has grown yet again, and I don't know if you can see it, but that tank is new. So that one right there is Ripley. Elmira is now off screen, and now there's this one. So what's in that tank, mind you? I don't know if I should reveal it yet. It's a new bug that's joined our ranks. I plucked it from the chill of Michigan fall to provide it a nice warm home, and it's doing very well. I may release it on the next Nick's News Flora and Fauna. We might buck the trend of doing plant bug, and that way on Tuesday, y'all will be able to see her. Or I might post her exclusively on the Instagram, or at least the reveal for her, and then we'll do a Flora and Fauna episode down the road. I don't know. I like keeping it in suspense, but I think I'll tell you her name. And producer Donna actually really helped me with this one, and I really like it. Her name is Madeline, the Goblin Queen. And she's quite beautiful. But yeah, Madeline has joined the ranks of my Flora and Fauna. Julie saying, cue the swarm in the Facebook chat. Hello, Rebecca, tuning in the Facebook chat. Julie also saying to do the Insta. So maybe I will do an Insta post tomorrow. Or, yeah, I could do an Insta post maybe tomorrow or Tuesday about our new bug. Elmira buried her water dish again. She did some major excavation and decided to put all of the dirt into the water dish. It's probably because I was gone and she is spiting me. And Ripley is scuttling around just fine. Everybody's looking happy and healthy, so all of the bugs are good. Cassidy saying, do I need to get Instagram now? You don't have to. I'm not going to push anybody to get Instagram. Facebook, if you don't have one, it just bugs you over and over and over, especially if you have a business page like Nick's News is set up to be. So I decided, why not? I'll just make an Instagram page and I'll just put fun little behind the scenes stuff on it. So trying something else, something new out. But obviously you'll be able to still get all the content on the YouTube and the Facebook page. It just might be a little bit later than the Instagram post. So Madeline's going to get shown here on the page for sure. It's just I might show her first on Instagram. So Matt saying Nixie business. Cassidy, you kids and your social media. Rebecca, I just downloaded Instagram last Thursday. I am confused. Rebecca, when I downloaded it too, I was confused as heck. It took me a little bit to get it straightened out. So, all right, but with that, we're gonna get into our news broadcast. We're gonna get into our good news. So our broadcast is broken up into four major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and the wholesome notes, the really nice touchy-feely articles we like to end on. So we're going to start in category 1, science and technology. This article was sent in by Cassidy. Cassidy, thank you very much. I called this one, Who's Got Two Thumbs and Likes Cement? This guy. And I will copy and paste this into the chats for y'all to read along. Zero-cal cement production processes take CO2 out of the equation. This comes from New Atlas. It was posted on October 15th of 2024 by Abhimanya Ghoshal. After a decade in the works, researchers at the University of California, Los Angeles have successfully devised a way to produce cement with 98% less CO2 than traditional methods. The UCLA team achieved this by decomposing limestone, the key raw material involved in making cement, to access calcium oxide, aka lime, without releasing carbon dioxide in the process. The team is calling this method zero-cal, short for zero carbon lime. It's a big deal because there's a massive opportunity to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions. Traditionally, heating limestone in a kiln to produce lime results in 1 pound of CO2 emitted for every pound of cement produced. When I was in college, I did several reports on cement and making cement in different ways to make concrete more cost effective and also produce less CO2 emissions. So anytime we get these interesting concrete articles, I love going over concrete. So Zero-cal skips the aforementioned fossil fuel-powered process of heating limestone. Instead, it starts with dissolving the sedimentary rock feedstock in a water-based solution containing a common industrial acid. Next, calcium is separated via membrane nanofiltration. Finally, an electrochemical process is carried out to produce calcium hydroxide, a zero-carbon precursor for cement and lime production. That goes beyond just reducing the emissions from processing limestone to just 1.5%. It addresses the carbon emissions resulting from limestone's decomposition while providing clean hydrogen and oxygen to heat the cement kiln, notes team lead Gaurav Sant. Second, it enables on-site decarbonization while making use of existing kilns and limestone feedstocks without having to build separate carbon capture and storage facilities. Charlie chiming in the Facebook chat, fuck yeah, concrete. Oh, my LARP daddy laugh is terrible. Oh my gosh, I just heard myself. While zero cal is indeed impressive, the process isn't yet perfect. It uses more energy than traditional methods and still uses a lot of water. That said, research into simplifying unit operations and better utilization of the electrolytically produced acid and base co-products is underway. That could eventually help zero cal achieve energy use parity. The research team is collaborating with India's largest cement manufacturer, Ultratech Cement, to build a demonstration plant that will produce several metric tons of lime per day using the zero cal process. Cement production accounts for 8% of CO2 emissions worldwide. Hopefully, we'll start seeing this process and others like it go mainstream in the near future and make a dent in that figure. The main challenges to this endeavor are cost and energy input. Low carbon cement is simply more expensive to produce and still requires vast quantities of power and water. Plus, margins on regular cement are already thin, so we'll need to see more innovation in this space before green options become the norm around the world. A paper on the project has been published in the American Chemical Society's journal Sustainable Chemistry and Engineering. Apart from Zero Cal, there are a couple of other notable projects we've seen that rethink cement. In May, we learned about Cambridge University researchers chucking used concrete into steel processing furnaces to produce reactivated cement, an article that we actually covered back in that month, I believe, on Nick's News. It's a byproduct while purifying iron. I think I used that one specifically because I work at an iron foundry, so any sort of foundry processes too are really cool to me. The process could make for completely carbon zero cement while using renewable energy. There's also Sublime Systems, which presented a zero-carbon cement solution using a novel electrochemical process last year. It landed a $75 million investment from global cement giants Holcim and CRH just last month. The MIT spinout is set to open a commercial plant in the U.S. with a capacity of 30,000 tons per year in 2026. So, to everybody involved with the UCLA team of producing zero cal cement, and to Cassidy for sending in that article, cheers. Mona tuning in on YouTube. Happy birthday, Mona. I'm not gonna lie, Voodoo Ranger is kind of like a purchase it anytime you want beer. It's not like some of the really special craft beers that we do here on Nick's News. I can drink Voodoo Ranger. It's light, it's refreshing. It's it's got some good citrus to it. It's a pretty crushable IPA. Charlie, Cassidy, and Ben in the chat. I too am dead. I am pretty beat and rough too. We're talking about the LARP. We were all at the Waypoint LARP this weekend. Yep, as am I. I am going to have a nice bruise on my leg. Ouch. Well, we all survived, so that's going to get us out of science and technology. We're going to move on to health and medicine. This article was sent in by Mona. Thank you very much, Mona. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. I called it Pride for Our Vets, or Pride in Our Vets. Sorry. It's a little warm in my house, so my laptop fan is kicking on. Hopefully in November we'll be doing a tech upgrade and going from our laptop to a desktop and have fewer heating problems. It is just screaming right now. I'm not quite sure why either. While we wait for this to cool off, Cassidy in the chat, in the Facebook chat, hashtag 2 days from retirement. It was a very eventful LARP. All right, let's get into our article. Pentagon changes discharges for 800 plus vets kicked out for being gay. About 820 veterans previously kicked out of the military for their sexual orientation will have their dismissals upgraded to honorable discharges following a year-long review of their service records. I apologize. This was posted in the Military Times on a Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 by Leo Shane III. I should have gotten into that. I apologize. I went right into the article because it's an interesting read. So again, 820 veterans, about 820 veterans that were kicked out of the military because of their sexual orientation are having their status upgraded to honorable discharges after a year-long review of their service. The upgrades were announced Tuesday morning by Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who said the effort was undertaken to redress the harms done by Don't Ask, Don't Tell and other policies on these former service members. The review was prompted by complaints among veterans that the process for upgrading discharge status was overly complicated and adversarial. The changes mean that those veterans, for the first time, will be able to access certain VA education, health, and financial benefits, a potential windfall for them and their families. So we put this into health and medicine because these about 820 members can now access VA benefits, an absolutely crucial means for veterans to be able to get health and financial assistance. So it's health related. The military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy was put in place in 1993 as a compromise to allow some level of military service for gay, lesbian, and bisexual individuals. But advocates said the policy was enforced erratically and discriminatorily, and forced those troops to keep secrets about their personal lives from friends and commanders, to the detriment of unit cohesiveness. Nearly 13,500 service members were forced out of the military under the policy, according to Defense Department records. The policy was repealed in 2011, allowing LGBT individuals to serve openly in the ranks for the first time. In his statement Tuesday, Austin said that because of military review policies in recent years, 96% of the individuals forced out of the service under the law have now been awarded honorable discharge status. We will continue to honor the service and the sacrifice of all our troops, including the brave Americans who raised their hands to serve, but were turned away because of whom they love, he said. We will continue to strive to do right by every American patriot who has honorably served their country. Defense officials said individuals eligible for upgrades because of the most recent review will be contacted by department staffers on next steps for getting appropriate paperwork and benefit applications. Some LARP chat in the Facebook chat to the military complex of America, to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, and to Mona for sending in that article. Cheers. And another one to the veterans of the United States military for everything that you do. You deserve all of the benefits awarded to you and more. Cheers. Wow, my laptop's going nuts. I'm pretty sure that's coming over the mic too, isn't it? Gosh, why are you screaming today? What happened while I was gone? Oh, it is hot under the collar. Come on, buddy, cool off. Mona in the YouTube chat saying she can't hear it over her laptop fans. It might not be coming over as well or as much as I'm thinking. So, all right, let's get into our next one. I called this next one Crack the Plaque. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Targeted nanoparticles dissolve plaques, combat cardiovascular disease. This was posted to Industry Tap Into News on October 19th of 2024 by Nidhi Goyal. It's just a nice little health article. It's not a big news article, but that's fine. Health articles are fine like this. So, inflammation of the arteries is a leading cause and key factor in the development of cardiovascular disease, the top cause of death in the United States. This inflammation contributes to the buildup of harmful plaque within the arteries. Consequently, advanced therapies are needed to specifically target the inflammation. To address this need, researchers at Michigan State University oh, the LARP voice, developed an innovative nanoparticle-based nanotherapy. This infusion precisely targets inflamed areas and stimulates the immune system to help clear arterial plaque. So far, these researchers have made significant strides in the fight against cardiovascular disease. A novel nanoparticle therapy has shown remarkable success in reducing plaque buildup in arteries, offering hope for a new approach to treating this global health challenge. The innovative treatment uses specially designed nanoparticles that target and break down plaque, the fatty deposits that can narrow arteries as well as lead to heart attacks and stroke. Acting like microscopic Trojan horses, these tiny particles penetrate the plaque and trigger a process that promotes its removal. Furthermore, in preclinical studies, this nanoparticle therapy has shown promising results in both mice and pigs. Researchers observed significant reductions in plaque formation and inflammation, suggesting that this approach could be a viable option for patients at risk of cardiovascular disease. Ultimately, the development of this new therapy marks a major breakthrough in cardiovascular medicine. By offering a targeted and effective way to combat plaque buildup, researchers aim to improve countless lives and reduce the devastating impact of heart disease. So to everybody involved at Michigan State University in a breakthrough new way to treat plaques in arteries and veins using nanoparticles, cheers. Hopefully, Mona checking in the YouTube chat. Oh, wow, that sounds like a great treatment and sounds like something you can apply early to get ahead of it. Yeah, definitely better than like the different, I think it's like angioplasty or stents or all sorts of other things that have to be done to clear out those plaques. These nanoparticles are really promising, so that should be some good news in the future for heart health. Charlie in the Facebook chat suggesting hot toddy or just warmed honey and lemon. Probably to soothe my LARP daddy voice. Oh gosh, I can't laugh. All right. So that gets us out of health and technology or health and medicine. We're going to move on to category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. This article that we have comes from Charlie. So Charlie, thank you very much for sending this in. I called it "An Apple a Day Keeps Extinction Away." And I will copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to read along. Mona also saying warm honey and lemon is good for my throat. And instead, I'm drinking a beer. Top myself off from this tall-ass can of Voodoo Ranger. Sleeping bear on a mission to save rare 19th century apples from extinction. This was posted to MLive, which is Michigan News, on October 13th of 2024, and the article was written by Lindsay Moore. When settlers arrived along the Lake Michigan shoreline in the 1850s, the land they found was dry and sandy. Little was going to grow in the newly formed community at the top of Michigan's Pinky, but they put their faith in apple trees. Sorry. A century later, the historic farmlands within Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore are still dotted with antique apples. The trees behind the Kelder House farm are weathered and gnarled from more than 100 years of being battered by Michigan weather. A northern spy tree stands with 2 branches tearing down either side of its trunk, but still producing apples. Gravenstein and Wagner apple trees stand on the perimeter of the farmland with branches twisted and bent from years of bearing fruit. In between them is a fragile tree bearing green and yellow apples. Its variety, lost to time. Crisp and semi-sweet, the apple name is unknown. Somewhere between 100 and 120 years old, the tree has outlived its record keepers. A small group of volunteers are working to identify and regrow these varieties before they become extinct. They're hitting their lifespan. They're going to die. When they die, that variety is gone, said Matt Mormon, volunteer coordinator at Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. Championing this cause for the past decade are Mormon and his team, Kimberly Mann, Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore historical architect, Tom Adams, an orchardist with the Leelanau Conservation District, and Jim Kelderhouse, a descendant of the Port Oneida farmers. National parks, we're in the forever business. We want to preserve everything in this park, including the apples, Mormon said. In the 1980s and 1990s, shortly after Sleeping Bear Dunes became a national park, the mapping and identification of its heirloom apple varieties began. While 75 varieties were identified throughout the park, the project stopped short of new growth. In 2014, as trees began to crack and split, a renewed effort took hold and a grafting project began. Much like the settlers in 1854, volunteers grafted or replanted twigs to cultivate an antique orchard. Volunteers used a 1930s Army aerial photograph of the farmland as their blueprint. At that time, the farmland was still privately owned by descendants of the original settlers. True to the national park mission and the settlers' intention, the orchard is being built by true grit and tough love, Mormon said. Trees are planted 32 feet apart and receive nothing but water. No pesticides, no herbicides, not even fertilizer. If they bite the dust, they bite the dust. And if they live, they're going to be very hardy, Mormon said. That's the whole point. It's tough love on these things, and so they're very slow growing. Across the country, it's estimated there were once 14,000 varieties of apples. Port Oneida settlers used apples for canning, baking, cider, and sauce. Modern commercial farming has tailored that into a few dozen varieties found at the grocery store. What was once a novelty to farmers of an eating out of the hand apple is now our mainstay. The poster child for the project is the Shiawassee Beauty, a variety developed in the middle of the state in Shiawassee County in the 1840s. A century of cash crops weeded out the semi-crisp apple, replacing it with more popular varieties. The industry for it died out. It just disappeared off the landscape, Mormon said. People stopped growing it, and it is one of the rarest apples around. There are only a handful of trees left in Michigan, Mormon said. The last remaining Shiawassee Beauty tree in the national park sits on the North Manitou Island, where settlers first lived before coming inland. Although it's a bit of a stubborn grower, there are now 3 Shiawassee Beauty grafts in the ground, Mormon said. Ooh, this coughing. I'm going to have to wet my whistle. Last spring, a dozen volunteers grafted 100 trees, and with an 85% success rate, they're starting to see the project take hold. Across the park, there are now 86 new antique apple trees. In the last decade, more varieties have been identified as well, inching closer to 100 across the park. In a rare treat for national parks, Sleeping Bear allows visitors to pick antique apples from Port Oneida to take home. There's an emphasis on being gentle with these ancient trees. Visitors are asked to be mindful by only taking a bushel and not overpicking the scarce fruit. The Port Oneida Historic District sits about 3 miles past Glen Arbor, and across from the Kelderhouse Farm is a trailhead for the Sleeping Bear Heritage Trail, which passes by historic farmhouses and cemeteries. Rebecca in the Facebook chat, road trip to go get some historic antique apples. To everybody at the Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore working to keep antique apple species thriving and away from extinction, and to Charlie for sending in that article. Cheers. Producer Donna and Cassidy both throwing down the gauntlet, saying they're down for a road trip to these apple orchards. I am too. I really am. That would be an interesting little like Nick's News excursion, or just a fun friends excursion if we all just go out to this antique apple orchard. It's really neat. All right, so that gets us out of flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. We're going to get into category 4, the wholesome notes. The really good touchy-feely articles we like to end on. And we've got 2 here that are both about heckin' good pets. Really heckin' good pets. So, ooh. All right. Julie is also in. Ben is also in. Let's ride. Let's go. So this first one I called March for Inclusion. And I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. Sit, stay, march. Meet the service dog stealing the show in a 300-person marching band. This was posted on goodgoodgood.co on October 17th of 2024 by Cameron Baker. Matt in the chat saying, my dad just had a heart surgery to install a Watchman implant. Interesting, Matt, and I'm hoping the best for your father. All right. Winnie, an adorable golden retriever, has always been a star in her owner, Gabby Reeson's eyes. The service dog assumed her position with Reeson, who has postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is often referred to as POTS, about 18 months ago. The college sophomore, who now studies at the University of Northern Iowa, started at a different college, but realized she needed more help participating in band and theater due to her disability. The Panther Marching Band has welcomed her and her furry accommodation with open arms. Winnie has joined the UNI Marching Band as an unofficial member, and now the whole world is seeing how much of a star she truly is. I'm part of the marching band, Rayson told KCRG News. So she is too. While Winnie has embraced the extra attention, she hasn't let the fame go to her head. There's so many people watching her, and she eats it up, Reeson said in a blog post shared by UNI. She loves the attention. Every time I would walk by, the whole student section would ask, "Can I pet your dog?" She just likes feeling helpful and useful. Reeson's condition can cause a number of symptoms when someone transitions from lying down to standing up, like an increased heart rate, dizziness, fainting, and fatigue. Winnie's role as a service dog is to notice changes in Reeson's physiology that might come on prior to fainting. From there, Winnie can direct her to a safe spot to avoid injury and get the care she needs. Winnie has made it where I can be like a normal person again, Reeson said. I can do band because she'll let me know if I'm okay, and I can go to my classes. Before her, we didn't know if college was going to be an option. Winnie supports Reeson on the field, on and off the field, and when it's time for a marching band performance, the retriever dons her own uniform, a purple shirt and matching cowboy hat, complete with a gold plume, to match the human members of the band. She also wears headphones on the field to protect her hearing, given that Reeson is a percussionist. Of course, it took a moment to ensure that Winnie would feel at home with the musicians. The band's director, Justin Mertz, was open to figuring everything out. When I came in, we weren't sure if I was going to march or if I was just going to be in the front line, Reeson said of her position in the band. Mertz said, "Let's try it," and we did. I'm a music educator, and we believe music is for everyone, Mertz told KCRG News. It's our mission to provide these musical and educational opportunities for every single student. According to Reeson, Winnie is still working on her spatial awareness, but she's gotten the hang of marching forward and backward with the Panthers. Honestly, I think she's a better marcher than me, Reeson joked. She's just really good at adapting to any situation I put her in. Now making national headlines, Winnie has won the hearts and audiences everywhere. But at the end of the day, Reeson is proudest not of her dog's musical inclinations, but of her ability to make the world easier to navigate. Obviously, I don't have a visible disability, so some people look at me and wonder why I need a dog, Reeson said. At UNI, I walk around and everyone gets excited to see a dog. It just makes me feel good. I belong here. That is awesome. To Winnie, the golden retriever, and her owner, Gabby Reeson, part of the University of Northern Iowa Marching Band. Cheers. Patrick in the Facebook chat. Well, that's just unfair. My old marching band could never match that. All right, so that's going to bring us to our last article. I will copy and paste this into the chat. This is a Not All Heroes Bark Capes article. Rebecca has an emotional support animal, so they think this is awesome. Very cool, Rebecca. Dog sits down in middle of road, unmoving, until officer follows to save her owner. This was posted on goodnewsnetwork.org, and it was posted on October 8th of 2024 by Andy Corbley. Gloria in the YouTube chat saying, wish they had a dog for their issues. I wasn't allowed in marching band because of a colostomy bag and playing the trombone. I'm sorry to hear that, Gloria. All right, back to the article. From Washington State comes the story of a senior citizen being saved by his senior canine who risked her life obstructing traffic in order to find help. On September 25th, the unnamed 84-year-old owner of the beautiful pooch named Gita fell, hurt his leg, and couldn't move. Let me grab a drink real quick. There we go. Gita then ran down to the main road where she stood on the paving lines waiting for someone to stop. That someone was Deputy Wright, who was patrolling that particular area of Stevens County. Seeing neither house nor owner, Wright alighted on the road to try and get Gita into his patrol car, but the dog wouldn't budge. Visiting nearby residences, Wright couldn't identify the dog's owner. Sensing something amiss, Wright went back to the dog, which was now lying on the center line, a statement from the sheriff's office read. Wright tried to move the dog yet again, but this time she took off up a steep, unmarked, poorly traveled side road. Wright followed the dog, and it led him to a small summer cabin. He began checking around the area and observed an elderly male lying on the ground calling for help a short distance from the cabin. The 84-year-old male, who also had other medical conditions needing regular medications, had fallen and injured his leg. He had laid there for hours and may have had serious consequences if he had not been found. We credit Gita for saving his life that day. The loyalty and heroism of our furry friends never cease to amaze us, the officer wrote. Second cousin of the injured man, Pat Lolavera, praised Deputy Wright for following his instincts and Gita for her incredible intelligence and dedication. Commenters hoped they'd see more of the story on the CBS Evening News or the Fox and Friends Animal Hour. I will definitely be looking for further follow-ups about Gita because that is absolutely crazy. This dog went and laid down in the middle of a road to get help for its owner. That is a hero in my book. So to Gita and hopefully their recovering owner, not all heroes bark capes. Cheers. Definitely a good pupper. So that, of course, my laptop's going to start screaming again, but that is everything that's all of our articles. Really good, 6 great news articles. Thank you all for your submissions. Thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nix News Facebook page or the YouTube page. Again, we're live every Sunday, and our next episode will be on October 27th, 2024. I encourage participation, so by all means, you can, if you feel inclined, you can post suggestions for news brews, for shout-outs, for news quotes, and especially for articles that we can present on future episodes. If possible, I appreciate like a variety of articles across our categories, and those categories, again, are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes. You can message us on Facebook or on Instagram, or you can email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. I check it daily, so feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our Facebook, YouTube videos, Instagram posts if you want to get that good news and joy into the algorithms. We're still trying to figure out how the algorithms work, obviously, and I'm not going to tell you to do anything, but I will kindly ask if you feel like it. Like, subscribe, comment to our Facebook and our YouTube stuff. It's really, every little bit is appreciated. As always, thank you again. I love you all. It's been great. And have a great night. And I am going to play us out.